Hey guys, hey devoted moms. Thank you so much for joining us again today on this wonderful, beautiful Thursday. Hey Regina, hey Kimberly.
Hey, ladies.
Hi. Hi, devoted moms. I'm really glad that we're back together. I can't believe it's Thursday already.
I know.
And we've got a special guest joining us this morning or afternoon or night, depending on where you are, that we're really excited to talk to, Kim Arrington. Kim was on last year.
Yep. Last season.
I think last season. Well, I was in transit, and so now I actually get to visit with her via Devoted Mom. Big thanks to Sylvia Global for allowing us to have this opportunity to check in with moms all over the world and just support each other. And so let's do a little bit of a check-in, and then we'll get into Kim and all of her fabulous inspirational self that she's going to share with us today. Tasha, how's your week been?
Week has been good. Week has been busy. You know, we were in Charleston last week and for a few days, which was awesome.
Grit. Shout out to Charleston.
Yes. So for all of our devoted moms in Charleston, we are definitely going back for an extended visit, just a couple's visit, because it was great. We enjoyed it. And so this week's just been busy catching up on work. Kids are back in school. Mia is absolutely loving her Mommy's Morning Out program 2 days a week. And it's just amazing to me how much she's just opened up and learned just in the 5 or 6 days that she's been there. So school was made for girls like Mia. She really, really enjoys it.
Oh, wow.
She enjoys it.
Wow.
She did not smile for picture day, though. So they're doing retakes tomorrow, so we'll see if we can get a smirk or something out of her. But if not, you know, oh well.
Well, she probably wants to see the contract. She probably wants to see like what's in it for her.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I support that entrepreneur
I know you do,
spirit.
Because you're the auntie.
She's like, you're going to use my image for what intent? For what purpose?
What purpose?
You know, you want me to smile. Why? What's my inspiration?
How about you, darling? How's your week been?
It has been a blur. It is Recovery Month, and so I've been spending a lot of time honoring folks who have found their way and are sustaining their recovery from alcoholism or drug addiction, really all addictions, as well as mental health. And so it's just a real inspiring time of the year all over the world. There are demonstrations just to celebrate 26 years in. The girls and I and Carlos and Antonio were at the Baltimore annual walk, and we did walk slowly, but we walked. And it was their 7th annual. So I've been there a few times. Oh gosh, so of course Poochie's barking now. Would you please stop? Thank you. So it was interesting because there was someone there who was able to say that he had achieved 35 years in recovery.
That's awesome.
And he was there, and he got just as much applause as the person who was 2 days in. In fact, the person was 2 days in, actually a couple of hours in, got a lot of support and applause to just keep coming back, and you know, however we can support you. And so it was a really good place to be. It was a good energy, and it was also a good time again as the kids get older to start to talk about recovery, what is addiction, what are issues with mental health. And so we have some real candid conversations, and we're able to put into a context of victory versus deficit and the defeat that it's often associated with. So that took up a lot, and let's see what else is going on. Just being a mommy, I'm teaching 2 classes on Mondays, and oh my gosh, if I don't start reading and my students don't start reading, we are just going to sit there and look at each other with a blank stare of, ah. So yeah. So, but it's been good because, again, it's another place that I get to harness this incredible energy of folks who are going to go forward and do incredible work in the world. And it's a big responsibility. So I always feel like I'm not prepared enough, or I'm prepared, I'm overwhelming them. So trying to find that space of support, but also expectations is really important. So that's been going on. And a big shout out to Mina, who is one of my housemates. She turned 10 today. And so we had our traditional bon voyage to the 9th year of her life yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Any reason to celebrate is a good reason in my world.
Right.
So it was Hasta la Vista 9.
Hasta la Vista single digit.
I know. She was like, 9 was the longest year of my life. But she's a big shrimp and seafood fan. So we had popcorn shrimp and shrimp scampi and her favorite are peas, and we just celebrated 9 is gone and on to 10. Right. So we'll see what the celebration tonight looks like. We usually celebrate in the morning with cupcakes, but we got put on suspension, so we didn't get to do that today. But we'll eat them later. But typically, we do the cupcakes in the morning, and I was kind of disappointed. But anyway, it's beautiful weather here, and just really feeling very grateful and very just very blessed and honored to just be able to live the life that I'm living right now. My heart goes out to the families, the folks that were at the Navy Yard. Yet another tragedy associated with mental health and the lack of adequate mental health services. So I really that was kind of hard to hear about because I've got some connection with the Navy. I did about 12 years with those folks, and so that was kind of hard to think about that happening. But on a better note, today is the birthday of Tuskegee University.
Hey!
Happy birthday!
There is a talk show, so I can have double cake.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I have some pound cake, and I'm going to eat some pound cake for Tuskegee.
Yeah. Apparently, so many odd years ago today, which is really sad that I might Google while I'm on here to see what year. But apparently this is the day that Booker T. Washington opened the doors of what was then Tuskegee Institute. And it's now Tuskegee University.
1881.
1881, but I am not a mathematician, and so I can't tell you what that means in
idea.
Human or dog years.
Yep. I have no idea.
So I'm trying to see if I can read, searching to find out what year we should be celebrating, because maybe that's how many cupcakes I get to eat.
Oh.
And remember, you ate one on my birthday, too, in honor of me turning 41, so I appreciate you.
I actually ate 2. It was 2 in a pack. I mean, what are you to do? I can't waste. I'm in RRR land. Reuse, recycle, repurpose.
So, Kimberly, how has your week been, Kimberly?
Oh, it's been awesome. I have been traveling the last week, and I've been doing these talk radio shows, and they have been from everything from makeup to relationships to, helping family to not enabling family, and helping mates to not enable. I mean, it's just been a gamut of topics, but I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. And I've gotten a chance to, since I'm in Florida, it's still hot here, I've gotten a chance to sit by the pool a little bit and tan. You see my tan? Bam.
You wearing your sunscreen?
I did.
Good.
I did. So yeah, it's been good so far. I can't complain.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are delighted that out of all of your other talk shows that you've been on this week and the past couple weeks that you had some time to join us on Devoted Moms. And I just wanted to take a quick second, too, to thank Gail, Sylvia, and Sylvia Global for this opportunity to come to you and bring topics to moms and parents out there, and topics that interest you and guests that you've enjoyed in the past. And so we definitely want to thank Sylvia Global for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you,
it's
Sylvia.
131 years old.
Oh, 131 years old. Tuskegee is 131 years old today.
131. Yeah.
And all three of us on this panel have connections to Tuskegee, whether it's the university or the city or both. And so yes, that's what links actually the three of us. So we are grateful to Tuskegee today for all that it's done, including developing the 3 friendships that you see here on the screen. Happy birthday, Tuskegee.
Happy birthday,
Tuskegee.
Awesome. So Regina had a fantastic idea and topic for this show today, something that I think she feels very, very strongly about, but also that something that Kimberly feels very strong about as well. And so we thought it would be a great topic and subject to talk about and just kind of, discuss and see, the good points. And so Regina, you want to talk a little bit about what your thoughts were?
Yeah, well, Kimberly and I have a little bit in common. We have a few things in common, but one of the things I think that we do share in our journey is that Kimberly is a fantastic auntie. As I am, and I was, I think, a better auntie before I had kids. But one of the things, for Devoted Moms, we're always talking about building a support system, tapping into other moms for support, but also looking at folks like Kimberly, who is loving regardless of whether she's birthed the child or not. Right. And so, Kim, I thought it would be great if you could kind of talk to the Devoted Moms about how can we access those women who, they don't want to be bothered with those children, or, oh gosh, they have the life because they don't have, the ties. But how do we build an alliance? I know that I spent a lot of time babysitting for friends of mine when, I didn't have to, but because I love the kids and I love them, I wanted to support and I guess give them some respite even. So I know that you're always talking about, hanging out with some kids, and so.
Yeah. Well, I would say, first of all, thank you, ladies, you beautiful ladies, for having me again. I'm so excited. But yeah, Gina, what I would suggest is, first of all, women are communal and we're social, and so a lot of times we have female friendships on tap, whether it's through sisters or aunties or, good friends or co-workers. And I would say start with women that you're close to, that appreciate you, that appreciate similar value systems and things like that. And if someone loves or cares about your children, if they're close to you. And I would say, for me, I have sisters, and I have a lot of women in my family, and I'm a big kid. And so it's kind of, you can see it on my face that I love kids, and kids know that I love to be with them. But I would say, start with women that are closer to you. There are a lot of women who are like myself who don't have children, but we love children. And I don't know if there are any groups. I think that would be a cool group, like an auntie group that goes out and helps assist you lovely mommies, and give you some rest and things like that. But definitely, I would say maybe start with someone that are closest to you, that share your same heart and love for children. we can see some things. We can be a little bit more objective because obviously they're not our children,
Right.
and we can always shuffle them back home. But no, I always think it's great if there's someone. You can never have too many loving people in a child's life or a teenager's
That's
life.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's very well said. And I think, especially for, like, Regina and I have talked about this in the past. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and so there are just going to be some things that she's not going to always be as comfortable coming to me about. And I think learning as a mother to be okay with that, first of all, it was my first step. But then also providing somebody else for my daughter to be able to go to, somebody that she can trust and bounce things off of if she feels she can't do it with me at that time. And I think that's so important. And so, Regina is that for my daughter. And so even beyond just the respite, because now, Jordan can stay home alone. So I don't necessarily need somebody to stay home with her. But what is it then beyond that? What is it after they kind of gotten older? How can you use that same relationship, and how does it evolve? And so I just love that we, have that relationship with each other's children, that, hey, you can come to Auntie. Doesn't mean I'm going to hide things from your mom or anything like that, but I'm going to be that person who you can just tell everything to, and it's going to be okay. There'll be no judgment. So I think it's very important to have that support system.
Yeah. I think it's also important even for, I've got a commitment to supporting people who are deciding to stay married. And so the way I do that is when I have my kids, I'll have 3 or 4 more. So that some of my friends who are married can go and do date night and not have to worry about the dollar, the per dollar, per hour amount has really,
it's high.
Yeah, when I used to babysit when I was, a teenager, it was like whatever you gave me was enough. I would babysit 5 kids per family. 5 kids, and I get maybe $20.
Right.
And they would be going all night long.
All night.
But I do think what I have to do is sometimes when I'm trying to coordinate and figure out what, I get to think about friends of mine who either their children are older or they don't have kids, but they enjoy being around kids, and just reaching out and being okay with Kim saying, well, I'm on the beach right now. But when I get back, I get with my girls, and also say, hey, where's Miss Bridget or where's Miss Kylie? We haven't seen them in a while. They have no idea that they have other lives. That they aren't their playmates. But it goes back to, we share similar values. One of the folks that they sometimes hang out with, Miss Bridget, Miss Bridget's hair, she reminds me a lot of you, Kim. You don't know where her hair is going to be or what it's going to be doing. She's real, she is of the world. She is out there. So the girls get a completely different experience with her.
Right.
She is not per se a Christian, but she does believe in a higher power. And she respects, our belief system, and has called and asked me to pray for her before. So the girls really do have a very, a varied exposure. And I think that, I was reading your blog the other night, way too late, but it was a good one, and it was about your experience with trading stocks and your perspective on wealth and money. And so, tell me a little bit more about that, because the little girl that was in the choir with me at, St. Mark Missionary Baptist Church was not hanging with stockbrokers, millionaires. So I wanna learn a little bit more about that. Tell me about how that happened.
Oh wow! I swear sometimes I'm a cat. I have literally lived 9 lives. So, well, I'll tell you, it was First, let me say this. I am just like, you and Tasha. I am a believer in our Heavenly Father, and I believe nothing is by accident, okay? But at the time when I became a broker, I thought it was by accident. I actually was in the travel industry, and I was doing pretty well, and I called what I thought was my competitor to see if I can make a little bit more money, but I ended up getting a wrong number, or what I thought was a wrong number. And it was a brokerage firm. And 5 minutes into the conversation, I knew I had the wrong number. I told the gentleman, thanks, but no thanks. This is the wrong number. But he went on to say, there's something about you. There's something about your voice. There's something about your energy. And I think you should come in for an interview. Well, I'm 23, 24 years old. I'm in the travel industry. I know nothing about stocks, commodities, currencies, indexes. I know nothing about this world. But long story short, after talking to him for about 15 minutes, I found myself agreeing to come in for an interview. Well, about a week later, I go into this beautiful plush office somewhere I thought I should not be. And I walk in like, this is not my life. This is a joke. Where are the cameras? And I was very humble, big smile. And I'm like, maybe I should kind of bring it in a little bit. I was just insecure about, did they really want me? So I walk in, and they could see that I was nervous and anxious. And they went on to say, you're the lady with the voice. Now we see the smile. And yes, it's you that we want to talk to. Well, I must say that's where inspiration started for me. He really inspired me he told me he saw greatness in me and that he would teach me. And he invested in me, basically, and said, we think you could be a winner. We're going to teach you things, and we want you to be a broker. And they invested in me. I studied, and I passed the test, and that's how I got into the brokerage business, by calling the wrong number.
Well, okay. All right, so here comes the mother connection. What did your mother say?
What did my mother say?
Yeah.
She said, what? I called. I said, Mommy, I'm a commodities broker. She said, well, what is that? You all have seen Trading Places, right, with Eddie Murphy?
Right.
Whenever I would tell people what I did, I always said, well, you've seen Trading Places, right? They say, yeah. I said, well, that's what I did.
Oh, my gosh.
Perfect.
So, but that's how I got into it. And then as I got into it, and I picked up things pretty quickly. I mean, I had to. It's a fast-paced industry. And I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed meeting people who I never thought I would meet. Good people. A lot of them were wealthy. And I had a lot of misconceptions about people of wealth or people who were different from me because I never experienced those people before. But there were a lot of great people and a lot of great experiences. And so, yeah, I write about it every now and then. So
nice. I don't think I saw that. I don't think I saw that one. I'll have to pull it up and read it.
Okay.
I don't think I saw that one. Well, I think that, I was talking, my husband and I, of course, talk about our children all the time, and, their different personalities and what we think they're going to do in life. And, Jordan's definitely going to be like me in that she'll probably change careers a few times. And not necessarily because she's bored or it's not the right thing to do. It's just like, okay, so what's the next chapter?
Right.
When I've moved from career to career, I have, taken the experiences from the previous career. I've enjoyed them or whatever, and then I move on to the next thing. And that's just, that's just me. And I think my younger two, what might be the type, we'll see, who will do the same thing. They'll know what they want to do, and they'll always do it. Always. They have that kind of personality. So I just love how, I didn't even know that aspect of you, and we've been getting to know each other, talking more about relationships and beauty tips and things like that. And there's yet another facet of Miss Kimberly.
Another layer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another layer.
Well, Kim, I know your mom.
Yeah.
And I remember Miss Arrington being the dance teacher and choreographer, and I wonder, just like, because of her creativity, did that flow into you to make things, for it to be okay for you to stretch out of the box?
Absolutely. When you're a child, you do what you see your parents do. You may not do the exact same thing, but I saw my mother happy with the job that she had. And so it let me know that you can be happy and you can go and make a living, and it can be outside of the box. You don't have to go to work with a suit on. You can go to work with ballet shoes on every day. For years I saw my mom just put her hair in a little ball, put on a leotard, ballet shoes, and a skirt, and she's going to work. I thought that was the coolest thing, So yeah, it did that for me. It allowed me to go out and be creative, even in business. I took my creativity with me, because I think it brings something to the marketplace that a lot of people think shouldn't be there. But if you look at anything that's really big and that catches your eye, there's some creativity in it. I don't care what it is. And so, yeah, I definitely, she affected all her kids. Sometimes she looks at us and say, oh, my God, my kids, y'all just try anything, don't you?
Well, in the therapeutic process, moms get blamed for everything. So this is an opportunity for, moms not to be at the root of the issue, but actually at the root of the encouragement and really really allowing for their children to go and try new things. Because I honestly, when you were telling me about the guy saying, your voice and I see great things, I was like, oh my God, if she would have showed up and he would have had an axe in his hand and I know, I went straight to like Jeffrey Dahmer, right? So that's what I'm like, wait a minute, where's this going?
And to be honest with you, Gina, if I was probably a little bit older and a little bit wiser, I probably wouldn't have shown up. But it was my naivete that just kind of got. And sometimes, especially as a child, and it's growing up into your teenage years, you need that. It's that type of audacity that affords you a fun life, or you can still be responsible and have fun. At the end of the day, after I'm laughing and doing all this, I still have to pay bills.
Right.
Yeah, I would say it's that you need that little bit of kid or childlike quality. When I talk to kids, my nieces and nephews or other kids or whatever, I don't try to diminish it. And because they're gonna have enough time to grow up, I think you still need a little bit of that light.
Right.
And that's my opinion.
Well, but I think it's important though. I think that it's important for moms to understand. Folks that don't have children have a particular perspective that can be really helpful. Because I went straight into protection, whereas you went right into opportunity. And I do that. What's interesting is I can do that with my nephews and my nieces, but with my own. No, you're not going over that person's house. I don't know her mother.
That's right.
It just it's a different feeling, which is why Tasha and I have agreed that there's some limitations that mothers have to be able to be objective and kind of allow their children to be who they are, and encourage them on it. And so, with you having such exposure to a lot of little kids, they're probably looking at Auntie Kim like, wow, Auntie Kim's living it like it's large, which you are.
Well, and too, like some of the even little things, the things that aren't so big, but sometimes when you want to do stuff for your kids, like say ice cream, and you may feel bad because they had enough sweets, you don't want to send this message to your children about obesity and eating right and all this kind of stuff, right? But then the really cool part about having the auntie come into town is, they can enjoy these things mommy guilt-free, and take your kids to Dairy Queen before dinner, for example. I'm just throwing these things out. This is nothing,
Yeah, I've never, that concept means nothing to me.
And we phrase that.
What are some of the Auntie Fabulous things that your nieces and nephews are going to remember about Auntie Kim that's different?
Well, you know what I like to do with them? I realize that each child is different, and they each respond to different things. And what I like to try to do, I love to inspire. So I take each one of them out separately. I'll give a date night to my nephews and to my niece. And where it's just about them and about what they want to do. And it's a lot of fun because you really get to see them as an individual child versus, when they're all together collectively, we have to decide on, okay, we're going to do one thing. Well, you may have one child that really loves it or fails, right? And the other three are kind of like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, so the loudest screaming one usually wins.
Yep. That's how it is in my house.
Yeah. So it's fun, when you get to just take them out one by one and you get to see their personalities and you get to really see them come out of their shell. And they feel special. That's really one of the things I want them to remember. That Auntie just, she wanted me to feel special, And I do have heart-to-heart talks with them. It's not always fun because I'm big on, make sure you do well in school. That is the biggest thing because I want them to go into this world and have an education, know how to speak, know certain things, so they can have a leg up,
Right.
But yes, I dress it up in fun sometimes.
Sometimes it's hard for us parents to do that, That's why why roles like you are important because, I have to remind myself sometimes, don't parent today. Like today is a fun day. Today is, today is just we're hanging out, and I have to actually really look at myself. All right, Tasha, no parenting today. And then I mess up, and I'm like, remember, we're not parenting today. It's so hard to do, and so it's so important again to have, that auntie, that figure that you are able to do that so much easier. And I'm able to do that with other kids so much easier than I can do it with my own. For sure.
Right.
I'm sure if I had children, I would not be this auntie type of person.
No,
I'm sure they'd be out of my face.
I'm glad you know that, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think you're such a resource that sometimes not tapped into. And so I want to encourage devoted moms to look at those girlfriends who may, have different responsibilities, but might be really interesting for your young person to interact with and have that one-on-one time. Right. Clusters of kids end up being just what you said, whoever's the loudest is who gets it. It just so happens that when I'm in the cluster of Tasha and my kids, everybody's screaming ice cream or Dairy Queen. So it makes it a little easy. We have a tradition. But it was funny. Right. Sims and Indira were in the car with their auntie their auntie Keisha, and it's late. We're grabbing a late dinner at Wendy's, and she lets them have soda, and I was like, it's 10 o'clock. What are they doing drinking soda? Right. And she screamed, and you know what? She got me. She screamed back, I'm the auntie.
I'm the auntie. That's right.
That's right.
It was so hard for me to take that because I'm at Waffle House with Jordan. Order, baby, whatever you want. Right. It's okay. Oh, you want some more grits? Okay. And she's sitting there like, that's ridiculous. You don't need all of that. And so it is hard to eat that trouble.
When we grow up, when the kids grow up just like we did, we remember all this stuff.
Yeah. I think it leads to the quality of life.
I agree.
Right. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, just wanted to take another moment to thank Sylvia Global for, we sit here, we laugh, we talk, we learn from each other, we are inspired by each other, and Sylvia Global makes that possible. So I just want to thank Sylvia Global again for this wonderful opportunity.
Yes.
And I would love, I know that you have one, Kim, so I wanted to do this segment with you before we sign off. And we don't do it every show, but we like to take a moment and have, talk about a God story. And that's a God story, what Regina and I frequently, we'll just call each other on the phone and we'll say, I have a God story, I have a God moment. And it's just recognizing something that happens that we know without a shadow of a doubt didn't have anything to do with us, And, for example, the story you even told about dialing the wrong number was a God story.
That would have been a phone call.
Yeah, that would have been a phone call between me and Regina. Yeah, that would have been a God story. So I have a God story I'd like to share really quickly. And then I would love if, Regina, of course, or if you have one that you'd like to share with Devoted Moms. But, I graduated with a social work degree. That's how Regina and I met. And so, in my learning and in my teaching throughout the years, have always understood logically and in my head the importance of, seeing a therapist, couch time as we call it, and just kind of checking in with yourself. And I think as individuals, and even when you're in a relationship or as a parent, there are just going to be times during your life where it's just necessary to just have some couch time. And so recently I've been, having some couch time with my marriage as well as individually. And I have just had so many God moments during this process. And so the biggest one for me is now connecting what I knew here to here. Because I didn't know it here before. Yeah. I really didn't. And like I said, we have advocated couch time before. I've talked to other friends and couples, if you want to see a therapist, I think it would be helpful. And so again, it was always in my head. And now the connection has been made for me. And just knowing some of the decisions and choices I've made in my life, good and bad, where they come from, the pathology of it all, my upbringing, my nature versus nurture. Again, all these words I've learned through social work now coming to play so huge in my life right now. And so I just wanted to encourage all moms, dads, couples, parents, single parents, no matter what situation you're in right now, if you're just feeling like, I just need to kind of bounce some stuff off of somebody, or I just need to check in, I encourage you to do so, because I am truly, truly looking forward to my 40s. Also truly looking forward to the next 10 years of my marriage, since we've been going through this process. It's not always easy. It's not always easy, guys, but it's so incredibly worth it. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to my God and that God story today, because it's been so real for me.
Yay.
Yay.
So Kim, does something come to mind that's happened that you'd like to share as a God story with us?
Well, you know what? I have quite a few, I'm sure. I always feel like, because I think I'm so open to that part of myself, I'm such a spiritual-based person, even though I like to laugh and cut up and things like that. So something happens pretty regularly with me. Just to kind of, I'll tell you something. I had a dog. Okay, his name was Bogey, and Bogey was 16 years old. He was a Boston Terrier, and he just passed in November, but he was a very important part of my life. And about 5 or 6 years ago, he was diagnosed with a very rare blood disease, and so rare that most vets didn't know how dogs really got it, but it's a blood disease where the white blood cells attack the red blood cells, and it has an 80% mortality rate.
Oh.
So I said 80%. Well, they told me 5 or 6 years ago that he has this. He may have 24 hours to 3 months to live, depending on if they will give him medication that night. Well, I sat there in the doctor's office about 3 o'clock in the morning with a dying dog, and I looked at doctor, and I said, "Do you believe in God?" And he says, "Yes, I do." And I had tears in my eyes, but I felt so deeply in my spirit that I must say this to him. And I said, "Well, I have a God. We serve a God that has created all creatures, big and small. And he's significant to him because he's significant to me, and my God cares about me. And this dog is not going to die in 24 hours, and he's not going to die in 3 months." And I had such a faith. It was such a knowing. And when I tell you, he did not die in 24 hours, he did not die in 3 months, he lived another 6 years. And it was so big in the veterinarian community because of this disease having an 80% death mortality rate.
Right.
People couldn't believe it. His symptoms never changed, but he still lived, and he lived an extraordinary life. And it was a dog. So I guess I brought that up to show that no matter how small you think something is, God cares about it. God cares about you, and as long as you activate your faith, I don't care what it is. It's minute to someone else. But when you exercise that faith and you believe it, he doesn't care about 80% mortality rate. You know what I mean? So that was a big moment for me. A big God moment.
Oh, good story.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we are going to wrap up because we've got some other things we need to do outside of hanging out with each other. But the great thing about Devoted Moms with me and Tasha is we're always here on Thursdays.
Yes.
And we also want to thank you so much, Kim, for taking some time out. Kim, if folks want to get in touch with you or visit your blog, which I think is very inspiring, can you tell them how to do that?
Sure. I have a blog entitled The Inspirational Corner, but you can find me at Inspirational Corner with IB, which is I for inspirational and B for beauty, .blogspot.com. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's just simply Inspirational Beauty Tips. And on Twitter, it's Inspire Beauty 40, which is 40. I know I don't look 40. Matter of fact, I'm 41. No. I keep forgetting I had a birthday.
You almost forgot.
Girl, that was just an anniversary. It was an anniversary of your 40th birthday.
You're right. I'm like, Lord, I keep telling people I'm 41. Oh, my goodness. All right.
Well, thank you so much. Kim is going to be back on with us, I think, in a month or so.
Next month,
talking more about what she's doing as she's on many different radio talk shows. And it was funny because, shout out to Devoted Moms, because I remember when you were leery of even going in this direction.
We were first, huh?
Yeah. Okay. So when you hit the Oprah Masters class, and trust me, I've said this has happened before, give a shout out.
Shout out. I will.
I know you got a big old family, but you're gonna have to add on some folks.
That's what's up.
Don't forget us. Don't forget the little people.
We thank you again for spending a little bit of time with us as we just do life together. Tasha, I love you more than words could ever express, and I thank God for you daily, sometimes hourly. My God stories involve calling you, but also you calling me.
Right.
So thank you so much for that sweet donation towards helping me stay connected with the world. I wouldn't trade you for $1 million. I love you.
I love you
and so kiss those babies, and thanks so much to Carl, our producer, who always makes this happen and makes it seem very easy. And he's constantly affirming me, and so I love him for that.
Right.
So thank you, Carl. And Devoted Moms, we will see you back next week.
See you next week.
All right, Tasha, see you on the other side.
Thank you,
See you on the other side.